Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. Yesterday, Tatanka took to his Twitter to basically say that he has finally signed a WWE Legends deal and that he is going to be coming to Wrestlemania 32 in Dallas, and he's going to be a part of Wrestlemania weekend. Last year at Wrestlemania 31, I finally was able to meet Tatanka. Tatanka was one of the wrestlers that as a kid, when he made his debut around 1992, really grabbed my eyes, and really I grabbed onto him. Honestly, I would not be surprised if Tatanka is going to be going into the WrestleMania WWE Hall of Fame at WrestleMania 32. I don't think that he's a real big flashy wrestler that's going to be getting, a whole lot of praise for his Hall of Fame career. I think this is just sort of, filling out the card. But for every wrestler that goes into the Hall of Fame, there's always going to be somebody out there that's rooting for him. I know that, when you think of Tatanka's career, you don't really think of, great WrestleMania moments. He wrestled the one match that was really good at WrestleMania 9 against Shawn Michaels, which ended in a countout, because Shawn took his belt and went home because he didn't want to lose. But Tatanka was the guy that had a real long winning streak over a big part of his career. He didn't really have big feuds, but he was the guy that was on like every television show. It didn't matter if it was Monday Night Raw or Superstars or All American Wrestling or anything like that. But there's moments of his career which is like leading up to Survivor Series. 1993, which was going to be the Foreigners against the All-Americans, and it was going to be Tatanka and Lex Luger, the Steiner brothers, and they were going to be teaming up against Ludwig Borga, Yokozuna. I can't remember the other guys that were on that team. But basically, on an episode of Superstars, they were going to have a match in the main event, which was going to be Tatanka against Ludwig Borga. And if you weren't watching wrestling in 1993, for this to be the main event of Superstars, this honestly was like a WrestleMania match. This was really, really big. Most of the time on Superstars, you would get matches that were like Virgil against the 1-2-3 Kid in the main event spot, and you'd be like, I'm pumped for this. But you knew going in that this was going to be a really big match. And before the match even had started, Tatanka was attacked by a steel chair by Mr. Fuji. He suffered a count-out loss. And then to add insult to what had happened, Yokozuna came down and he crushed Tatanka, which took him out of action until the next year. He ended up being replaced by The Undertaker, which ended up being a big thing for Undertaker's career to make that big jump to being a face turn and actually being able to show that he could work on a team and, that he was a good guy, pretty much. Tatanka would come back from the injury. Of course, then he would have the really good storyline that nobody really talks about of Tatanka against Lex Luger, involving the whole $1 Million Corporation, of Tatanka calling Lex Luger a turncoat, basically saying that he was siding with the $1 Million Corporation, only for once the whole thing came to an end, it was Tatanka that had sold out, trying to make Lex Luger look bad. The results of all that, just Tatanka got lost in the shuffle of the $1 Million Corporation. Tatanka faded away to the point where he left WWF in 1996, but I always remember the rumors, people always saying that Tatanka was going to join the NWO, in 96, in 97, in 98. It seems until the day that WCW died, there was always these rumors that Tatanka was going to go there. And then out of nowhere, Tatanka popped up in WWE again around 2005. He stayed there for a little while. He ended up not really being a big force on the roster, but he was sort of an older, experienced wrestler that was able to, work with the younger guys that were coming up on SmackDown at the time and try and be able to give them tips and try to be able to make them look good on television. I'm nowhere saying that Tatanka was one of the best wrestlers of all time, but as a kid, I can say that honestly, Tatanka was one of my favorites, and he is one of those guys that, because of the WWF machine and the way that they marketed this guy, he was always one of my favorite wrestlers. So if he goes into the WrestleMania 32 Hall of Fame, I'll be pumped, and I'll be excited as one of my guys is going in.